In this video, we are going to build a customer retention dashboard in Power BI to analyze the numbers of new customers versus returning customers. And I will show you a very easy DAX which you can use to get the returning customers and then the new customers as well. Uh, because the thing is, most businesses focus much on getting new customers, but they focus less on retaining those customers. So the real question is, are those customers getting back again and again? Because in reality, those customers can be more valuable because they tend to spend more, and it even costs less to retain customers than to get new customers. So knowing a balance between these two can be a good insight for the business who actually wants a sustainable growth. So this is what we will be doing. I will be using a transactional data set from Kaggle, and we'll try to find out the pattern of new customers versus returning customers, and how can business use that to retain customers who are actually not retaining. So yeah, head over to my screen. So this is the dashboard that I've created. It's a very simple dashboard, and it contains the comparison between the new customers that we are getting and then the returning customers as well. So we can clearly see the comparison and then the trend over time, and then we can also filter them by the countries. We have a lot of countries over here, but I actually choose the top 10. So yes, we can filter them out accordingly. And I will also show you how to add that country slicer, and then we can also filter by specific customer ID if we are looking for any customer. And this is what the overall number shows. And if I show you the data, this is a simple data set that I got from Kaggle. I will attach its link in the description so you can download and practice at your own. So this is what we'll try to build now. And let me jump on to the simple Power BI file where I will just import the data and perform the same steps again. That's just a second. Okay. So this is the file. Let me show it to you. Yes, this is the file in which I've just imported the data set, and it just auto perform the navigation, promotion address, and change type steps. So let me make sure we have the right data types. I will just keep it text, and I will keep this one text as well. Normally we consider it as a text. And invoice date is good to go. I think we can change that to date because we don't really need time over here. And also, let me show you a quick tip to see if there are any errors in date. Sometimes we have incorrect formats of date. So for this, what I usually do is I just go to keep rows and I only keep the errors. And if there are any errors in the rows, it just filter them out to show it to me. And if there are no errors, then obviously no row would be returned. So this is very quick way to check if there are any errors in our data set. So yes, there are no errors in date. Similarly, we can select all columns and check that out, but it's good data set. So we have 1.2, which is decimal, then whole number, and then country. So we are good to go here. And let me just perform a bit validations over here. So the unit price should be greater than 0. So let's just try to add that condition. So I would say it's greater than 0. And for the quantity, it should also be greater than 0. And there are some negative values over here. I think that's because of the some of the cancels transactions maybe. So yes, I think we are good to go now. And let me yeah, I think we are good to go. Let's just close and apply, and I will share that screen. Okay, let me just hit close and apply. So it will take some time since the data is a bit large, not much. I'll pause the video to see how much time it takes. Okay, so the data has been loaded, and as you can see, we have quantity, unit price, and all of that stuff. Let me just quickly change its type to unit price because after all, it's a currency. And I always use 2 decimal points, and this is quantity, it is fine, and customer ID is also fine. So let's just try to create a new column, and that column would be the multiplication of quantity and unit price to get the revenue. So what I would do is I would just multiply quantity by unit price, quantity multiplied by unit price. So this would give me the revenue column, which I can just do a sum to get the total revenue out of it. So I'll just convert that into currency. I would always keep it till 2 decimal points. So we got the column that we needed. It just to show you the total revenue. It's good to show that out in your dashboard. Otherwise, our focus mainly is on customers, but it's good to show them here. And I normally create a new table in which I keep all of my buyers just to keep the things organized. So I say this column as buyers, and I just load that out. It's getting loaded. Okay, so I have this column and sorry, I have this table, and in this table I will create a new measure, and that measure would be, let's say, total revenue. And for this I would just do a sum of the column that I just created. So this is the total revenue column, and again I will quickly change its data type. It's in dollars. I will now delete this one, column one, because I don't really need that. I had to keep that at start because there should be at least one column in a table. So now we have that. It's not ultimately column, but it's a single scalar value that is in a column and row. So let's create a new measure, and that measure would be, let's say, total customers we have. And for the total customers, we will just do a distinct count of customer IDs, because in our data sets, IDs are getting repeated in a row because the data is organized around invoice and stock code. So yes, we got total customers, and now let's jump on to creating a retaining customers. How can we identify the retaining customers? So far, if I show you the stats, so this is the invoice date, and we can check the total revenue we have, and then the number of customers we have. I can change that to table. So this is what it's showing over here, and we need to identify how many of these are new customers over here. For example, if we check the data set, we will have customers who actually came to our store only once. Those are actually new customer and they didn't come back. But we have also customers who are actually new, but they are actually paying. So we need to look at the data by using different dates to see a comparison when that customer came and if that person came previously or not, something like this. So without further ado, let's create a new measure. And for this measure, what I would do is I would just firstly say it's returning customers. Returning, I'm sorry, it's returning customers. I will insert a new line. By the way, you'll have to press Shift and Return to be in a new line. I'll press Tab, and I will create a variable, and that variable would be the number of customers we have. For example, we are trying to calculate the total returning customers. So for this, we actually need a list of customers. I will show you why it's need a bit later. But let's say we have customers, okay? And in order to get the number of customers, we can use the values columns, and that would actually return me the unique customer IDs that we have in a given period of time. So let's say I just type customer ID. So for example, let's say I'm looking at this date. So this would give me the total customers by this point of time in which I'm looking for. So row level context, something like this. Let me actually convert that into a simple date so we can check the comparison. And let me change its format to a short date. We can also choose this one maybe. Okay, so let's go back to our measure, and this is what I was saying. For example, if we are looking at this date, so we have 96 customers, so this tax would return us this like amount 96, the number of like customers we have, the unique customer IDs. It automatically gets the unique customer IDs. So let's create another variable, and that variable would be to, let's say, get the current date that we have right now in context. So what we would do is we would use our last date function. Okay, so it would just return the last date that we have. You can say the maximum date. So for this, what we will do is we will just use the invoice date column, because this is the only date column we have in our data set. So now what this uh, date would do is like this variable. So let's say we are looking at this row. So as I showed you, like 96 would be come from this variable, and then within a given context, this date would be coming from this variable, because it would give the like last date. If there are, let's say, more than one dates during a current context, just to be on a safe side, we will get the last date. So this is what it would return us. Okay, so we got customers, and then we got the current date basically within a given context. So now let's just try to return the variables, and over here what I would do is I would use a sumx function. Okay, and in a sumx, what I will try to do is I will refer to that like customers list that I got, and I would say, let's say, if, and in an if condition I will use a let's just try to look at the calculate function. So for example, in a calculate function, I actually want to, let's say, count rows. Okay, and I will refer to the table, and here comes the most important part, how to calculate the returning customers. So here what I would do is I would say, let's say, if in my online retail data set, and then the invoice date, if let's say there are any dates or any rows where you can say the date is present and that date is actually less than the current date that we have in a given context. Okay, so if that's true, so what I would do is, just a second, so I have actually counted the number of rows, but I actually like applied a filter over here. So for example, let's say I have this, you can say the date. Let me just a bit move it down so we can see that from the data context as well. So yes, I was saying, let's say we have this like current context in which we are looking for. For example, we have December 1st, 2010. Okay, so we have this as a current date, and we are checking if we have any dates in our data sets that are actually less than the current date. Then it would just count the number of rows. This is what it's doing, and again I applied sumx. I will show you why I applied. So what I will do is I will just create an if statement, and in an if statement, this is the logic, and I would say something like, if, let me just wrap it in the brackets, and let's say if the value of this solve function is greater than 0, then I would, sorry, there is a bracket mistake over here, I believe. Okay, it's good now. Yes, it's good. So if the like number of rows, if we get any like value over here which is greater than 0, then I would say like that customer has returned. Otherwise, if there are no rows over here, then I would return it as a 0. Okay, so let me just close the brackets, and because ultimately we are using some x function, and it would ignore the like zeros, and if there are like rows it finds which are actually less than the current date, that it would return count as a 1, and we will simply sum x that. So let's just try to look at if our like formula and our DAX is working. So I will create I will just add this returning customers, as we can see, like for the uh, like first date we have 0 returning customers, because ultimately those are, all the new customers. So let's just try to create a new customer tags, by the way. So for the new customers, what I would do is, it's just a simple calculation. So I would say, let's say, new customers, and for the new customers I would simply do a subtract from the total customers minus returning customers. We don't need to go into a fancy detail. It's just a simple calculation. So excluding returning would be like the new customers. So let me just add that as well. For the like first date, we have all the customers as a new customers. And if there are any like rows where we don't have a data set, then those cannot be a new customers. But this is our benchmark date. This is how we can calculate that, and we can even look at the period of time. So these are the like simple DAX calculations we needed. And let's just try to create a dashboard now. So for this, what I will do is, what I will just change its background at first. So let me copy the hex code from the dashboard I showed you. And again, you will have access to PBX files, so you can always download and look at that as well. And I will like change its transparency to 0. Okay, so that is done. And next I will insert. I will go to insert, and I will insert a shape, and that shape I would change its color. So let me also change the color. So for this, let me copy the color from the file that I have. So this is the hex, just to be exact. Otherwise, we can approximately change that. But uh, yeah, I will go to shape style and I will go to fill and I will change that to this text, which is a bit dark than the simple green one that I've added over here. So I will just add it over here, and then I will just insert our text box, and in that text box I will first type, let's say, customer retention, and let me a bit increase the size of this to 32 maybe. It's a bit large. Let's change it to 28, and at the bottom I can just press a bit tabs, and here I can say something like new versus returning customers. I can a bit increase the size of this text as well so that it's a bit more readable for the users. Okay, so yes, it's good. And now I actually need to change its let me actually change its font to Verdana. It seems good to me. Okay, and let me change its background now, because we want to like show it over here. So for this we actually need to turn off its background. Okay, and also we need to change its color to white so that it can be visible over here, and I can even bold that as well. Okay, it looks good now. Okay, so once that is done, I'll just add it over here, and after that I can just add some of the like cards that I need. I'll just copy that from the dashboard that I showed you previously at the start of the video, so that we don't consume much time over here. It's just simple. You just need to import, add the card, and then add the calculations. Otherwise, I will have to change all the settings, turning off the background and turning the text to white. So just to save time, this is why I'm doing that. So that would be the total customers. And let's say after the total customers, we want to show, let's say, the, for example, we can also calculate the total transactions we have. It can be a good measure. So let's just try to quickly calculate that. For example, I say total transactions, and for this I would just do a distinct count of invoice number we have. So this would give us the total transactions that we have had so far. So I can just add that over here, and after that I can add another, you can say the like overall cart value, and that can be, let's say, total revenue we have. Okay, so let me a bit align that. Okay, it's good now, I believe. Okay, so now let's try to add a slicer of customer IDs. I'll just copy that. Okay, so this is a slicer. I can even, bit move it to left side so that we have more space for this slicer. Okay, so we got customer IDs, right? And I just added value from the customer IDs. And now comes the interesting part, how to add the like flag of slicer that I showed you at the start of the video. So for this we actually need to import this enlighten world flag visual from the custom visual option. It would not be available on your by default visualizations panel. You will have to extract from the get more visuals by pressing this like option over here, and you will have to search this like slicer over there. You can type by enlighten world flag and you will find that out. So once it's added, you will just need to press that, and after doing that, I would need to add the country here. So the requirement is the country should be in a simple English text format. So I have that countries over here. Those are actually in an English language. Okay. So I'll just add that. For example, where are they? Okay. So we got customers over here, and you can see like it actually recognized all the like countries we have, flags we have, and what we can try to do is we can filter them by the, otherwise it's good to show all, but let's just keep only 5 or 10, so that we are focusing on the top like countries that are actually giving us more revenue. So for the like slicer, I would just type top n, and here I would say I need top 10 countries. On what basis? Let's say I need them on a total revenue basis. So this would give me like top 10 countries. And we got one country. It actually didn't recognize that country. It's actually Ireland. So what I can do is I can just replace that EIRE value to simply Ireland so that it can recognize that. So what I will do is I will go to Power Query again, and here I will, let's say, just press any value. It's right now showing me, let's say, United Kingdom. I would say it's IEIRE. I would say it should be Ireland. And same way like you can do for the any other country columns where we have this mistake. So let me just close and apply, and it will take some time. So let it load. I will pause the video. Okay, so the data has been loaded and the changes have been made. So we got island flag over here. So this is good. So let us try to turn off its background. What I would do is I think it's over in here. No, it's not. Oh, it's over here. I'll just turn that off, and I actually need to change its data label to white, and I can even a bit increase the size. So yes, we got countries flag over here, and what we can do now is we can like add a matrix, and in that matrix I will first show the invoice date, and I will change that to this one. And for the values, let's say I will firstly show, let's say, total customers, and then the new customers, and finally the returning customers. Okay, so this is how we can show that. And I would just need to a bit customize that. So for this, what I would do is I would just go to format, and over here for the values, let's say go over here. It should be null, and for example, for the values, let's convert all that to white so that we can recognize them. And I actually need to change its background as well. So maybe I can say the background should be this one. it, oh sorry, I actually had to convert that to this one maybe. Or even let's say let's just keep it not blank. I think that would be better. Mm, so let me just undo these steps, because ultimately we can just it's already turned off, we don't need to do that, right? Okay. Okay, so yes, these are all white, and for the column headers we can also change them to white, and for the row headers we can also change them to white text as well. And we can turn these off, we don't need them. It would even not show the correct value. Okay, so now it's still like you can say the mm, white. So for this, what we would do is I will, let me check where should we go for the size. Yes, here it is. We need to turn that off. So now we are good to go over here. Okay, so let me add the title, and for the title, what I would do is I would just say like mm, new versus uh, returning customers. Okay, and I'll just change that to this one, and I'll just keep it this one. And we got this similar way. We can just copy and paste to have the same settings, and we can, let's say, change that to line chart. And for the line chart, I just need to keep this for new customers and then the like old customers. And over here, what I can do is, uh, let me just press that again. And here I can firstly add, you can say the, just a second, zoom slider. Let's say I'll just turn that on for the x-axis, so we can like look at the zoom slider as well. For the x-axis, I'll just change its value to white. And let's say we can turn off the title. And for the y-axis, we will do the same. We will change its values to white. Okay, and we will turn off the this option. And for the like, there's one thing left, and that is legend. So we will change its color, sorry, text to white, so that it's a bit recognized. So yes, this is how like we will build a dashboard, and we'll show the number of returning customers and the new customers over here to understand the pattern. So with this type of analysis, business can clearly understand whether this growth is coming from acquiring new customers or from retaining existing ones. And as we saw, like returning customers often play a like huge role in deriving consistent revenue. So using simple transactional data, we were able to identify first purchase behavior, track customer trends over time, and visualize how customers' loyalty actually evolves around the business, right? So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.